I'm Christian Abbott.
I'm Nathan Lavender.
I'm Sean Abbott. And this is the Red Mist Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Red Mist Podcast, Season 3, Episode 10. The Wayne Taylor with Andretti Racing Acura ARX 06 number 10 Konica Minolta Acura LMDH car. That's the blue one.
Very good. Yes, the blue one for this year.
Huh?
The blue one for this year.
Blue for this year, not the red one.
No.
The red one's the other one.
Yeah, that's 40.
There we go. No NASCAR there. Nate'll be upset.
No.
Anyways, on tonight's episode, we'll talk about NASCAR at Vegas, Sin City. We'll talk F1, season opener at Qatar, and as the world turns with F1. We'll also discuss the upcoming Indycar opener and look ahead to this weekend's F1 race in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Also, we have Moto GP on the docket. And what was the other thing, Christian?
Super Formula.
Super Formula kicks off the season.
Yeah. That's Suzuka.
Very exciting there. At Suzuka? Ooh, even better. So, all right. So let's get into it. NASCAR. Nate's not here tonight. Unfortunately, he's on assignment. I could be a quick episode on NASCAR. On the Cup side, Larson dominates. Started second, took the lead from Logano, second lap, and ran away with it, and took all three stages, only to be contended by Tyler Reddick. That was it. They should have just had a two-car race. The rest of it was a snooze fest, as I said. So there you go. Carl Larson wins. He's locked in, and he's also can now focus on IndyCar. And the Indy 500.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Actually, yeah, that's a really good point. He can do whatever he wants.
He can actually focus. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll win this weekend at Phoenix. Just increase the points lead, do whatever he's got to do there.
Didn't we joke about the other week? Is there an oval before Indy?
IndyCar oval?
Yeah. No,
there used to be Texas.
Yeah, there used
to be Texas. All the IndyCar ovals are now at the back end.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because we went over that too. That like the last 7 of 8 or something like that is our ovals.
But Larson's locked in, so he can do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, in the Xfinity series race, we had John Hunter Nemechek with the win. So he stopped the Austin Hill win streak at 2, although Hill finished 4th, so that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then in trucks, congrats to Raja Karuth for a win. First win?
Yep.
In the Hendricks truck, so good for him. Is he considered a rookie this year? I mean, I know he's been kind of dabbling in oval track racing, but I never know. I was trying to find out. I couldn't. Nate would know. I know that, but
yeah, I don't. I know he's been coming up the ranks, but I don't know what.
I'm wondering. I think this year might be his first full year in some type of top level NASCAR. But congratulations to Rajay.
Yeah.
Good for him. So, anyways, and that'll conclude our NASCAR coverage.
Yes. Done. Moving on.
Moving on. Oh, they'll be at Phoenix this weekend.
Kind
of a test race for when they return for the playoffs at the end of the year.
Right.
So, shall we move to? I don't even know what to call this. F1. As the world turns with F1, Right now, I can't even tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
There's like a different story every day. Oh, we're
Yeah.
gonna talk WEC. I forgot. We're gonna talk WEC too
Oh, yeah.
at Qatar.
Yeah.
How did I forget that?
All right. Well, let's get through the boring one, F1 first, and then we can get
That's
to
what happens when you're calling in remotely. Sorry,
Yeah.
I apologize. But anyways, Formula One. Well, let's. Well, it started off promising for all those other teams.
Testing.
But
And
it
it was a false hope. It was a false hope the entire
yeah,
week.
it was it was like practice and
I mean,
we got to
you could tell
practice and
you could tell Red Bull was on a completely different run than everyone
practice
else.
strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, because and then when the race came around, you saw that the strategy that they had there. I know I'm skipping ahead, but you could see that they were much more confident in the tires to do the strategy that they did. So,
I mean, the practice sessions kind of went like I thought. There was a little more. We had some, a lot of cars on the track, so we had now twice as many cars on track as we did at the test a week ago. A little more wind, so impacted the cars. So that played havoc. But it kind of it kind of went like every other practice session did last year. Red Bull's kind of, I think, playing with their race strategy more so than they are anything. They know what they're going to do for qualifying, and I think they put that to practice in the third practice session. Mercedes, comes out and everyone's like, "Oh my God, there's a chance!" And then you get to get the qualifying and
yeah. I mean, qualifying is much closer than race pace, and I mean, race pace is just dominated by the Red Bulls.
Right.
So, however, and as much as I say that, I will stick to the point that the grid has gotten closer over the long run that you look at the sport.
Grid,
so it's not crazy far spread out, and the other thing too is reliability is so much more is so much better nowadays than it was 15, 20 years ago. So I mean
even 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, usually the first race you have a lot of cars breaking down and stuff, things happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only fluky thing in the race at least was when Logan Sargent's car went to 90% front brake. Like, it was an electronic glitch.
Yeah, because the one thing that they changed from last year to this year was the steering wheel position, or
on the Williams.
The dash
on the Williams.
The dash
on the Williams
in front of them, from being mounted to the chassis to be mounted to the steering wheel, and that's what went. So I mean, it's a little ironic, but it's something new, and it went wrong in the first race, and for that to be the only mistake, not bad.
But when you went throughout the practice sessions and you looked at the data gurus and what they were talking about, like Sam Collins and those guys, they were saying, well, look at the race pace. Like, you can tell what the race pace is and the qualifying pace. Because everyone knows in the session that Mercedes went fast, they turned the WEC up on the car and ran a different fuel load.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, everyone else was kind of running race pace. And if you look at the race pace, I mean, Red Bull was ahead of everybody. So I don't, I mean, I think you have to really pay attention to that stuff. I mean, you got to really look at the data or look at the information that that is available to you on these various broadcast platforms, and really kind of take advantage of that to understand what's really going on. So, qualifying, no matter what, I don't care if I put $1 million and I'm going to win $1 million, I'm still going to put it on max. Like, I'm not going to win anything. I'm still going to put it on max. I mean, he's able to turn the lap on when he can,
Yeah.
He gets the tires to work. He gets everything to work, and he knows what he's doing.
I mean, the other thing too is it's just the confidence level that he has in that car. Because even if he's not on pole, he knows they have the pace advantage in the race. So he's not stressing. He just can't. As long as he doesn't throw away the lap, it's a whole different mindset.
I think if he goes to I think if he's of the mindset that he's in the top 5,
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, he'd love to be on pole, but I think
Right.
if he's in the top 5, he knows that he can get through.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think as you get further back in dry conditions, it's hard because you got to be cautious at the start and all that.
Yep.
So, I think in the top 5, I think he can, but he put it on the pole. Charles, once again, fastest Ferrari
Mm-hmm.
on one lap. We'll get to the race. And then George was clearly faster than Lewis, but I never saw a reason why, and don't know if you did.
No, I didn't either. I mean, it could be that the car's just not clicking with Lewis versus George.
As
But
opposed to the practice session.
I mean, maybe it could be. Yeah. It could be that they had George running a different practice plan or testing plan,
Gotcha.
Whatever it was.
Gotcha.
Who knows? Maybe it's ramifications for choosing to go to Ferrari at this time of the year. Who knows?
Could be. And then the rest of the field was. I think the only surprise really was Haas overall.
Yes.
K-Mag. He didn't end up on the back of the grid, but he sort of ended up in the top of the final third of the grid, so at 15th. Mm-hmm. So that's a plus. And the Hulk was in the top 10. So
yeah.
But then again, as when we watched the race, our only concern was, well, how fast are they going to fall to the back of the pack? Mm-hmm. That was the biggest thing.
Took him the first lap, but
well, we'll get to that. So I thought they were impressive. Aston Martin was, I think kind of where they thought they were going to be, and I think McLaren surprised themselves.
Yeah.
As for the whatever they are, Cash App, AlphaTauri, yeah. Red Bull, whatever they are, I was a little disappointed in their qualifying. Mm-hmm. I thought they should have been inside the top 10, but they weren't. So.
Yeah, I think they should be in Q2 pretty consistently.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this year is definitely a notable year of where can those two put that car, because towards mm-hmm. the end of last year they were dragging it up pretty good. Whereas this year it's kind of with the amount of contracts that are up next year, it's really a no excuse year, especially with the amount of experience that team has now. So either they can do something with it or not. And
yeah,
they really got to kind of maximize that car to be 6th, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, you're, because at this in the bottom half of the standings, I feel like Williams are probably the strongest car
mm-hmm.
in that grid, namely Albon.
Yep.
But as far as the strongest duo that could scrap more points together, I don't know. I think there's probably a couple better combinations, and then obviously mm-hmm. Alpine is probably really the only wild card at the moment, because this time last year we're going to be saying Alpine's looking a lot like how McLaren was at this point in time last year. Now, whether they can have a turnaround throughout the year and pull off what McLaren did, where they're fighting for podiums, midway through the year, I don't know. And and the way that after they just had another slew of technical positions opening up over the weekend, it'll be it's a bit optimistic to try and say that could be the outcome of this year. So they'll probably be struggling more than McLaren was last year. But I think it'll just be a question of if they can get that car up the grid, because I mean those two drivers are not slouches.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not to say that a lot of the drivers on the grid are any kind of slouch. They're all quick, and they're all there for a
Yep.
reason.
Yep.
With talent plus cash, because I mean that's what you need in racing. So,
But
yeah.
So let's move to the race. In the immortal words of David Croft, it's lights out and away we go. And that it only took about 10 feet, and I will predict that the 2024 championship is over.
Yeah, I think you and 19.
I know that to the consternation of many of our listeners. But yeah, Max just picked up and drove away. I will say this: there was one other thing with qualifying. Again, disappointed in Checo.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
But we got down basically the first corner. I think everybody got through except for the Hulk. Who did he get? Oh, he got into it with Stroll.
Yeah, there was a stack up on the inside of the corner.
Right? Yeah. And then from that point on, I mean, he dropped back, pitted, got a new wing, repassed the slow Alpines.
Yeah.
We'll get to them after we're done with the race recap here. But for much of the race, it was just a matter of Max controlling the race and just drawing out and literally like laughing on the radio, like, can I do fast lap? Can I do fast lap? They let him, and then it's like, okay, let me know if someone gets close, and it was kind of comical. I will say this: driver of the race richly deserved Carlos Sainz.
Yes.
He was on full attack, and I think this is how he's going to be all season. I think this could be to a detriment of Charles. I hate to say it. And it may look like, the end of the year, it's going to look like Ferrari didn't sign the right guy.
Well,
I hate to say it.
As of right now, yes. And if Carlos can keep up this throughout the year, for sure, yeah. You can definitely look back on that.
I just think he can. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think
it's a bold statement, but
I mean I think he can too. Between or looking at all the drivers on the grid, Sainz, Alonso, and Max are the three that have a very similar mindset of how to race, and not just be very quick from a skill level, but also just mentally sharp.
Yeah.
Because
he's very focused.
Yeah. Not to say that the other drivers aren't mentally sharp and focused, but that it just seems that they can do it at a different level compared to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on the team radio that gets broadcasted. So.
I mean, beyond that, we had Bottas with a slow pit stop, kind of killed his race.
Well, he had the busted front wing for most of it too, from that lap one.
Oh, that's right, he did. Yeah, and then and we just kind of had that battle at the back. It was with the two Astons were at like 8th and 9th, I think, or 9th and 10th, somewhere in that, just 9th and 10th. The McLarens were ahead of them. But and then like George was what, 5th?
George was 4th.
4th. Oh, Charles finished 5th, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So but that pack it was Joe, Magnussen, K-Mag, and then the two whatever they went, the Cash App cars. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to call them. That group there was kind of battling, but what they were battling for was really the highest finish. Mm-hmm. So in terms of seeding for the for where at the end of the year. So
yeah.
Good on Joe to take 11th. K-Mag held on for 12th. And then we had the scrap with the two Cash App cars. And I think this kind of caught a surprise. I mean, Yuki was leading for much of that period, and then they turned the strategy around and they put Ricardo on softs. So he's chasing Yuki down, and I'm like going. I was like, I don't really get why they did it, because I don't think he was going to catch. He wasn't going to get to 10th.
Well,
I didn't think.
Yeah, I mean, at first, it didn't look like it, but it definitely didn't happen because Yuki didn't move out of the way when he was asked to, which we'll get to.
We'll get to that in a second.
Because I think had Yuki gotten out of the way quicker, Ricardo would have at least had a shot at Joe. I think he definitely would have gotten by K-Mag. That's so they would have been one position higher in the Constructors Championship if had he moved out of the way quicker. I agree with that. Not that I agree. That's the statement that I'm making. And then
I gotcha.
Because as this battle was going, they were catching Joe pretty rapidly. And because at one point I looked up, I'm like, oh, it's pretty far out. Not gonna worry about it. So it's just a battle of whether he can get K-Mag or not. And then towards the end, I was like, they're almost within a second. And before, I thought it was like 6 seconds or something like that. So Joe did not have pace. Like, he was falling pretty fast.
Yeah.
But Ricardo, I don't know if I can't remember which stint he fell off, whether it was the first or the second one, because when he swapped onto those softs for the last stint, he was a good 7 seconds behind Tsunoda. So he caught him at a pretty good pace, and it was just a question of if his tires were going to hang on, because I was trying to look and see how much longer he had to go, or what his stint length was at the end there comparatively to everyone else, because the other driver that I was curious to watch was Stroll, because of his issue at the start of the race, that it offset him a lot, because Bottas ended up hitting one more than he needed to, but Stroll actually did a really good job and extended his two hard tire stints really long. So, I mean, that's definitely kind of a drive that went under the radar, I would say. But so I'd be curious to see where Stroll would have ended up had he not had his first lap incident.
Gotcha.
Or, I mean, I guess how much closer it would have been. But the Ricardo and Tsunoda team orders thing was very odd.
It was odd. I'm not a big fan of what was asked of Yuki at that point of the race.
I was not a fan of it only because Yuki at that time had caught Magnussen.
Yes.
And was trying to overtake him.
Yes, he was.
Had Magnussen been 5 seconds further up the road, no problem.
I can see that.
No problem with it. Because at that point, it's a stretch that Ricardo is even going to reach him at that time. And then you can say at the end of the race, if not, move over, swap back, because you didn't get him. But with how close Tsunoda was, like, he was literally breathing down Magnussen's gearbox. Like, that's... it didn't make any sense to me.
Right.
So...
It's, it was crazy. And then, and then, at that point, we didn't, like, the race kind of ends, and then it's like, an hour after the race, all of a sudden it comes out, is this crap that Yuki pulled on the cooldown lap.
Yeah.
Which, I'm like, if you got a beef, it's with team management. It's not with Danny Rick. So the crap he pulled on, he's lucky he didn't get called for dangerous driving.
Yeah. Yeah, no, For sure.
I mean, there's a lot of these F1 podcasts or specific podcasts are like, they're all asking that question. How come you didn't get, called on that? So, we don't know, I can't say what went into that, but it was kind of Bush,
Yeah.
and I give Danny credit for kind of he took the high road as best he could, and I think he did the right thing. So
yeah, I mean, even in both situations, like his comment of when Tsunoda was asked to move over and didn't, he made a comment of, I don't really need to say anything, and it's like, all right, like, I mean, you didn't really need to say anything. Like,
right.
you clearly know he's not doing it, so just the team is definitely aware, like at that point.
Right.
And then he had another comment similar to that when Yuki made that swipe after the race, and I'm like, again, if you really want to do the high road, like, you don't need to say anything in those situations. You know that his actions speak for themselves.
Right. So, all right. So we had little thing after the race. So now we fortunately we have a week and we just move on to Jeddah for, I guess, what you call this street course, I guess.
Yeah, it's
permanent street course. I don't
technically a street course.
Street course.
So yeah, Sainz alluded to McLaren potentially being strong here, so I guess we'll look to see if they can move up the grid and pace a bit. So, because I think between Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, and maybe Aston Martin, but they seem to know that they're kind of behind those three teams now. Between those three, it's kind of a toss-up going into each weekend of who's going to be the strongest. And that's kind of how it was last year as well. So I guess we'll probably have to look back on some of definitely the second half of the season, because that's when McLaren really exploded. But it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top between those teams each weekend.
Yeah. Fortunately, the racing is coming fast and furious for this weekend. Keeps everyone off the as the world turns with Formula One.
Yeah.
Jeez, we go from Red Bull announcing they've kind of cleared this whole thing with Horner to some email goes through the paddock virally, can't be verified. And then there's like reports of Verstappen's father having a fight with Horner. I mean, like a verbal spa. And then Yoss getting photographed talking to Toto. Now speculation is Max is like looking for a way out. And then this is also, and then if Max leaves, Newey leaves. I mean, it's just like it's constantly like churning. And then we had Mohammed Ben Salam being accused of fixing the race where Alonso had the pit stop where they touched the car, and he supposedly overturned that from I believe that was last year at Jeddah.
I saw that one, but I didn't get too much into it because
it's like the Formula One paddock has turned into a cesspool. It's hilarious. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and then you have Alpine. That's a sinking ship over there. I mean, we were talking. It's like because we were watching the Formula One racing and we were kind of also streaming the WEC race, and we're kind of both joking. It's like if this Alpine WEC program becomes more viable, they're just going to pick that. I mean, why would you put the money in that? It's like right now, Michael Andretti is going to be at the rate Audi's going and Alpine's going, he's going to have a pick of two teams to buy.
And
he very well could
with the rumors
Ford. And Formula One is looking worse and worse for their mistake of like shunning him, because now they got this crap going on in the paddock that they can't control. There's also now a wild rumor. I saw this just before we started recording this podcast, that supposedly Horner is So the Thai family that owns Red Bull, they own 51% of the family, and I apologize, I don't know the family name, but so supposedly they are more, they lean more towards Horner than they do the Austrians, so the Dieter Mateschitz side of the family. So the rumor now is that Horner has been trying, and this is since the Mateschitz family, since Dieter passed away, he kind of, after the season ended, he's been putting together a business plan to buy the Thai family's share of the Red Bull racing team, not Red Bull, but the racing team, which would essentially shut the Mateschitz family out of Formula One. Supposedly, he has some heavy British investors. I mean, there's a large amount of British billionaires that might be looking to get involved. They would continue with Red Bull sponsorship because the Thai family controls Red Bull. And this might be really what's going on behind the scenes. And Yas is like more, which at this point, I'm like, why is, why Yas is even getting involved is like ridiculous. I mean, he's not Lawrence Stroll, all right? I mean, Max has a manager. It's like, why he's listening to what Yas is saying is like beyond me. But anyways, I mean, family loyalty, I guess. But anyways, so there's this wild rumors flying around. So I have no idea where this is going.
No, I mean, that, and then to then continue down those rumors of like Max switching teams, whatever. At this point, you're just gonna have to wait to see, what moves first, whether Horner completes this supposed sale or actually no, back that up. If Horner stays, you'll have to see the ramifications of that. If he leaves, you'll have to see the ramifications of that. So if he's the magic piece in this puzzle of where everything is going to decide to go, then you know what? We'll wait to see how it plays out and go from there. Because
100% agree.
When his whole thing came out, we didn't touch on it a whole lot just because it sounded like it was a lot of moving pieces, and it was pretty well kept behind closed doors if Red Bull wanted it that way. But now if it's just being speculated at all this stuff, like who knows what's real at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, in these types of corporate situations, even in the corporate world, it's very sensitive. It's very it's like walking on tiptoes, it's like walking on a minefield. So,
I think it's unfortunate that this stuff has to.
But what I hate seeing is I'm like, why is Zach and Toto like, we got to get this resolved? It's like, it doesn't involve you guys.
Right.
Has nothing to do with you.
Okay. I mean, it's unfortunate that this is the side of the sport that gets covered, because you just want to talk about the racing. Ultimately, at the end of the day, like I don't really care what goes on in the background, but obviously I know there's plenty of stuff that goes on in the background that makes this circus go round.
If Horner legitimately did this, he should be out. If it's somebody trying to throw him under the bus because of some corporate power struggle, then shame on them. Right. You know? But I don't need Zach and Horner mouthing off every 2 seconds about it. It's like, go to your corner and take care of your teams, because your teams are still nowhere near the front.
Well, at the same point too, it's the Drive to Survive issue where they've made the team principals this head coach equivalent,
right,
of importance in the team, and it's like no one, like this position has never been this big and well known,
right,
for anything, because ultimately, no one's gonna remember who the team principal is. Everyone's gonna remember you only remember these people because it's their name as the team name. Frank Williams, Ross Brawn, Gene Haas. Well, I mean, if Haas ever gets good, Ferrari, right? Like, you're gonna.
I mean,
those are the names you remember outside of the drivers.
Right. The only thing out of Drive to Survive that came was to show what a character Gunther Steiner was. Yeah. Okay? Then he kind of went down the road of Gunther's friends. It was Franz Tost, Matteo, and Fred. Okay? And those, you know what? That group of people is a lot more entertaining than Zach Brown and Toto Wolff. Yeah. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Because they're just, they're having, I don't want to say they're having fun, but they want to race, and they don't want this crap. And, like, I think Horner's the same way. He just wants to race. He doesn't want this crap that those two get into. But anyways. All right, so we're going to move on to Jeddah. We'll come back to that in a second, a little bit. Let's move on to the WEC race at Qatar, the season opener. Featured 19 LMDH cars. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, I mean, look, the Izzato Francini, look, we know where that car was, had very limited testing. I wasn't expecting that thing. Look, it showed up and ran. It's like, if this whole season's a test bed for it, so be it.
They're at the same point that everyone who is showing up for their second year was a year ago. Like that. Yeah. That's where they are. So.
Yeah, and I know Toyota's struggling. I mean, obviously with some of the balance things, but hey, you guys been the top dog for a while. It all evens out at some point. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I thought overall the race was a fantastic race, just under 10 hours.
Yeah.
I know people would go, well, it was a Porsche 123. Well, it really wasn't a Porsche 123. It was really a Porsche Peugeot battle for a lot of the race.
That's right.
Until the Peugeot suffered an electrical issue. With 2 laps to go. I mean, heartbreaking.
Seems eerily familiar to us, though.
Yeah, to a Toyota.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, great things I thought from Peugeot. So good for them.
Yeah.
They have no reason to hang their head. They took the fight. They took the fight.
Yes.
I will say this: Cadillac stayed in there. Yeah, I mean, I really think they need. And you said the same thing. We really think they need 2 cars in WEC. A lot of people do, because I think this is a 2-car series. A 1-car fight is not.
No.
You can't do it. You just can't get enough data.
Right.
Ferrari, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
This weekend. But I will say this: this is, Porsche kind of has figured out, what went wrong last year. This is now their second year with the car. You have a very strong customer team with the Hertz Jota team. I mean, they phenomenally well. I mean, to finish second, congratulations to them. I mean, that was fantastic.
Yeah, it's good to see the customer team up there fighting, and they finished second on merit ahead of the Works team.
Yep, they did.
So
and Callum Ilott drove his pants off.
Right.
On tires that were like God so old. So fantastic stuff there. I thought it was a solid Lamborghini debut. I mean, again, first race for them out of the box.
And
same with BMW. This like people go, well, BMW ran last year, and it's well, BMW and WEC is a little bit different. Same car, but there's different components.
Right,
different tires, different ECU packages, I believe.
Well, because Porsche and Cadillac
hydro package
talked about that last year, because that was that was the question to them. Like,
that was their
what's the
bugaboo.
Difference? Yeah, what's the difference between the 2 series, and how do you have to get acclimated?
And that was the bugaboo they had. So, overall, I just thought it was a great race. It came down, 3 cars. I mean, the Penske car pulled away towards the end. I mean, but it was really interesting with the Peugeot in there, and then the other Penske car, and then the Hertz car. I mean, it was great. So, I mean, you can't ask for much after 10 hours of racing. So, well done to WEC there. Alpine finished 8th and 12th on debut, so that was good. The Proton guys finished 10th with their Porsche. So again, overall, I thought it was just a great first step for the second season. it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
I think we're off to Imola next. Is that correct?
Yep. That's in April.
And that could be a crazy race. Trust me, Ferrari will come out guns a-blazing there.
Yeah.
On the GT3 side, new era. This is GT3 racing, WEC style. So, I thought this was, again, another great race, a great, field of cars. Corvette grabbed the pole. Unfortunately, they had a couple technical issues. Came down to a battle between the Manthey Porsche and the harder racing Aston Martin. And the guys from Manthey won. So good on them. Again, nice start to the WEC series in GT3. Again, it's only going to build from here. There's just so many cars in there.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
I mean,
once like Lamborghini can get their car going, their GT3 car more into the WEC scale. The Corvettes I think are there. The Fords I think will be there. Well, I mean they finished
the Corvettes. I'm still kind of 50-50 now because they definitely have pace, but reliability is something else for that car.
Well, how did it do at
Daytona? It went up in
flames. The same problems. They had a couple problems.
It was in and out of the garage.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, you have to see where they're going with that. I mean, it's a new platform for them. Same deal with the Ford guys. So
yeah.
We'll see what happens, but I think it's I just think it bodes well. I mean, as we get to towards Le Mans.
Yeah.
So.
No, should be good.
So should be good. So like I said, we go to Imola next, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
IndyCar's coming up this weekend as well.
Yeah, IndyCar debut at season opener at St. Pete. Still 2 drivers to be named.
Yeah. That's.
I keep refreshing the racer.com page to see.
Yeah.
Nothing yet. Nothing yet.
No, I know that'll be interesting to see what comes out. And I mean, I'm sure by the time that this podcast drops, I'm sure they'll have announced it between now and then. But
so don't really have much to say there. We'll have our picks shortly. The other thing this weekend we got Moto GP kicks off. Mm-hmm. Kind of exciting. It's also the debut for the Trackhouse Moto GP team. So wish them luck. It's not expecting big things, but they're a non-factory team. But we'll see. Mm-hmm. One never knows. They do have an experienced team principal, former Moto GP team principal, so leading the team. So we'll see how it goes. I think it should be interesting.
Yeah.
And then Super Formula returns. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I haven't really read up on Super Formula for the year. Only because Liam's not in it.
Yeah. So they put Iwasa into that seat.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And there was one other notable driver in there. Let me see if we can pull it up. So let's see. Yeah, Iwasa's in the Mugen car. And Theo Pourchaire is going to be there as well.
Okay.
So, Kobayashi's running again. He was one big name, and Yamamoto and Ren Sato are still there. I mean, it's still a heavily Japanese lineup or grid, which again is fine. It's been that way since COVID. So it'll take a bit before some of the international guys get into that series again.
Yep.
But it'll be the car from last year again this year, so no major changes to expect. But yeah, hopefully it'll be another exciting year. So last year had some good races. There's nine races this season, and we're gonna kick off the season at Suzuka this season.
Yeah, I'll be trying to tune in and finding it, so looking forward to it.
How many times did I say season in one sentence there?
So, all right. Okay, so let's. Don't know if Nate didn't get us those picks. So.
No. We got his picks.
Oh, we did?
Yes, we did.
Oh, you got them? Okay.
Yeah,
sorry. They must have come in on Discord.
No.
Okay.
We're good. We're good.
I don't have that technology. Okay. Let's start with IndyCar.
Yes.
So we're just gonna pick the winner here, right?
Winner and a dark horse. That's it.
Okay.
Winner for St. Pete, I'm gonna go McLaughlin.
Okay. Based on last year.
Not even based off last year. I guess maybe, but he just seems like one that can win this on the streets this year.
Yep.
Didn't he win Nashville last year? Or was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago? I don't know who.
Or no?
Did they race
I think he put it on pole.
Oh, okay.
Nashville. That might have been what it was.
All right. So you're gonna go McLaughlin. All right.
Yeah, for the win.
Dark horse.
Go Rasmussen.
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Polo.
Hello,
as my winner. Hello, Polo. And then Motorwords Lee Diffie.
Gonna ring in the new year with that.
Yeah, gonna ring in the new year. I'm gonna go with Polo.
All right.
And my dark horse, I know this is gonna sound weird. My dark horse is gonna be Colton Herta.
I see. Well, it's funny you say that Herta's your dark horse because Nate actually picked Herta to win.
Okay.
So,
I thought he was going to pick TBD, but that's all right.
Yeah, and then he tried to put Will Power as his dark horse, but I told him that's not a dark horse, so you can't do that. So he's gonna go with who is he gonna go with? He's gonna go with Marcus Armstrong.
I like that. Although I will say this, I think somebody that could win this, and I didn't pick him, but I if I was a betting person, I may put money on this. Kyle Kirkwood, I think I might put some money on.
Oh, just because of his Long Beach win last year.
I don't know. I'm thinking that's where I'm going to put some money, but I don't trust them all the way, but we'll see. All right, so there we go.
Yeah.
I thought Nate might go with Grosjean in his debut.
No. Well,
with Yuko Hollinger.
You can't double up on Grosjean, especially after how last year ended.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to wait and see there.
Yeah.
I don't know. New Gardens, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if he's recovered from Indy.
Granted, anyone from Penske or Ganassi are always good ones to go with. McLaren,
agree.
You're more likely looking at Award for most of the time.
Yeah.
But he's always a wild card in itself.
Right.
So. All right.
Anyways. All right. Let's move on to Jeddah.
Get the picks here.
Get the picks. I will go first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make a shocking pick that Max will win.
Yes, he will.
I know. I know. However, I am going to pick. I'm going to go with. I'm going to go Carlos to finish second.
Alrighty.
And I'm going to go Charles to finish third.
Okay.
My dark horse will be Danny Rick.
Alrighty.
It'll probably be a Haas, but
yeah. So I'm gonna have Max to win.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take a different approach. I'm gonna say this is not. I'm gonna follow suit with what Sainz says, and maybe this is not Ferrari's weekend. So I'm gonna say Perez second.
Okay.
And then Lando third.
Oh, I like that. I was gonna pick one of the McLarens, but I just I don't know. I don't trust it right now. I don't know, but wouldn't shock me.
And then my dark horse, I'm gonna go with Haas, and I'm gonna say Hulkenberg. Rights the wrong from this past weekend.
Yep. Okay. Nate, I can only imagine where these picks are gonna go.
Well, you know, he's gonna avoid the curse this week on Max for whatever reason and pick Perez to win. So we'll see how that gets done, because Nate's always a believer that Perez is king of the streets for some reason.
Yep. Yep. The Minister of Defense.
With a sensible decision, he's gonna pick Max in second at least.
Okay.
And then third, he picked Russell. So
George. Wow.
All right, that's fine. I mean,
okay.
Quickest one in the Mercedes last weekend, and
look at him.
See, maybe he'll turn around this weekend. His dark horse, he picks Stroll.
Lance. Okay.
I mean, again, kind of a under the radar drive last week, but you know, we'll see how it gets done.
If you were to pick a dark horse, would you pick Albon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's. Well, I think the expectation with Albon is that he should be scoring 10th.
I'm going to see if
between
I can.
10th and
I'd
12th.
like to. Yeah.
Every weekend.
Yeah.
Because really, that car is or him in that car is probably best of everyone else.
And it works in a high speed configuration, so and the track is relatively high speed, so
yes.
All right.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go. Nate's got his picks in, locked and loaded.
Yep.
Sure, he's in a complete agreement with them.
100%.
And we'll find out next week.
Yeah.
NASCAR is at Phoenix. We should another jam-packed show next weekend. And then we
Nate put in his picks for NASCAR. He picked Keselowski to win that race for some reason.
Keselowski?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm gonna pick Larson.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Larson. But anyways,
I'll go Hamlin.
Hamlin.
Yeah. Or no? Didn't who won the championship last year? Was it Bell?
No, Blaney.
Okay, no. Let's go Blaney. He'll
pick Blaney.
He'll repeat off his.
He's going to write
the
disaster of a season that he's having right now. He's going to turn around.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Why not?
Why not? All right.
All you got to do is win to get in. So that's it.
Yeah, win to get in. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
That's all you got to do. No, that's all we care about in NASCAR.
Yeah.
So, all right. And in the immortal words of Nate, good night.
Thank you guys for listening to the Red Mist Podcast, hosted by Christian Abbott, Sean Abbott, and Nathan Lavin. It's produced by Christian Abbott, and music is by Alex Wart and Harrison Tate.